Hello and welcome to another CIDE tutorial. My name is Dan Burke, username DABOURQU in case you need to get a hold of me. This tutorial will focus primarily on the time controls and sidetrack. So let me launch right into it. You'll notice that there's a new time control section at the bottom of the debug view here. So I'm going to launch a simulation. This is a simple single core, single context simulation for Ingress, and it has the performance database and Symvo enabled. So we've just suspended at main right now, and the time controls will show you the simulation's minimum available time to the very bottom left, and the simulation's maximum available time in the bottom right. If you are zoomed in, they may not be visible immediately. You need to scroll to the extreme right and extreme left to see those numbers. So as you're zooming out completely, you will see them both at the same time. An important concept to keep in mind is the fact that the debug view is considered the master controller of the entire workbench. So for all transaction views, all temporal views, instantaneous views, and whatnot are sensitive not only to the elements selected, but also the time range selected in the time controls. So I'll give you an example of this. If I go to the context statistics view showing you the hardware state of the currently selected context, or core, or simulation, you will see in its content description section right here which cores it is currently showing information for and which time range it is showing information for. So in order to set start and end time ranges, you can manually do so by clicking on the number, manually typing in the new value, or visually left clicking and right clicking on the toolbars for the time in or mark in and mark out values respectively. And so as I'm just plugging away here, you see the effects it has on the pie chart and the numbers. You'll also notice that the start and end values in all temporal views are affected when I do this. If you middle click and Symvo is currently enabled, you are able to jump to any time in the past. By middle clicking, this affects Symvo's current time, or the simulation's current time. I've just jumped to time 6247 in the past, and all debug information will be correct for it. So all GDB information populating the variables, watch window, and register views, if I open up the registers, are showing you the information that they had back in the past, back at the time 6247 in this example. So I wanted to focus for a moment on how to control the timeline controls. I've shown you already zooming in. When you're zoomed in, let's say down to the very tick, right now these are actual ticks of the simulation, you can jump to the start of range, current time, and end of range by clicking on their icons in the toolbar. So let me, and the zoom to full extents here, or zoom to current range extents here, effectively just zooms you out to the exact range specified here. So you'll see that if I zoom out once more, that's the extent in which I was zoomed in a few seconds ago. And the last controls are these three. It basically allows you to snap start time to the simulation's current minimum time, and the maximum time to the simulation's maximum time, or both at once. The middle one just does that for both extents. And so by right clicking or by middle clicking anywhere on the timeline, you can very quickly jump to any arbitrary location back in time. You'll also notice that for each of the times, the stack frame contents or lists beneath each context is also reflecting what was in effect at the time and brings you to the microcode. This time navigation allows you to do it completely manually or interactively. If you go to any of the transaction windows, for example, if you double click on any entry here, it will bring you to that event's time. So 2210, if I double click on the event, it brings your current time to 2210 and shows you where you were in your microcode. What you're seeing here isn't very interesting because it's a single core, single context simulation. But by double clicking this would have also brought you to the correct core and context. If you double click on an element while Symvo is disabled, you will not be brought back in time, obviously, but the file, if it is known at this level, the file and line will be brought to foreground in an editor at the very least. All forward stepping capabilities also function while in Symvo mode. Step over, step out of. One thing though, when you get close to the current time, if you step out of far enough, a premature suspension may be necessary, because when I didn't really take note of where I was or when I was before clicking the last forward stepping button, but I stepped over and the simulation did not have enough information to complete the request. So what we do is we switch you to real time, which was 10796 in this case, and suspends prematurely. And this dialog box explains it. While doing the exact next one, Symvo did not have enough information to actually step you to where you should have. So it suspended prematurely and allows you to continue from here. So it now necessitates you to hit another forward stepping button to continue. Breakpoints also work in the past. So if I add a breakpoint at marmot init, resume forward, the simulation is actually currently working right now and is suspended at marmot init. If I backward step from here and again forward step, that same breakpoint will kick in again. I haven't quite, oh, I see, the premature suspension has occurred again. So if I go to my breakpoints list and see that it's here, I don't remember what time it was when I had hit it, but let's go very, very early in the simulation here and hit resume. You see that you can hit the breakpoint even while in the past, and you can do so forward and backwards. So if I set my time to in front of that location and resume backwards, you'll hit that breakpoint in reverse. And lastly, if I switch back to current time, switching to current time, unfortunately, right now is still somewhat of a manual process. You have to take the current time and set your current time marker to it. I don't know if I misspoke there, but I should have said the max time and set your current time to it. So I will resume just a little bit more and suspend. You'll notice also that if I set a breakpoint and resume forward, hit it because we are currently in actual simulation. If I go back in time and resume again, I will again hit the breakpoint. Well, effectively I've hit it in a completely different time frame here, but if I hit resume again, I'll hit it at current time. We are hoping that all of this is somewhat intuitive. It would behave as you would expect, because as you've gone back to the present, the last thing you had done when you started time traveling was hit the breakpoint. So now that you've gone back to current time or present time, you've hit the breakpoint again. That's exactly in the state you were when you started time traveling. one thing that may not be immediately evident is while you are in the past, you cannot change variable contents nor register contents or memory contents, etc. If you attempt to do so, it will just say could not assign expression to the variable object, which makes sense because changing a variable's content could affect the flow of subsequent stepping operations. You might have an if statement that would have caused a different branch, which is exactly akin to science fiction's rules of time travel. You must not affect anything that has occurred in the past, otherwise you are affecting your present. You can't kill your grandfather because then you'll never have existed. All of the temporal views, which have temporal views effectively always have a time control toggle at the right top edge of the view. This toggle allows you to host that time control locally in that view. So you can now make time manipulations only of the time extents, of the time range extents within this view to affect this view's contents. Oops, I didn't mean to drag it. I meant to expand it. I switched to the wrong view. So you see that right now I'm showing from 0 to current time. So let me narrow my view to this. Actually, let me zoom in. There. Now I'm zoomed in far enough that there are actually only 2 records that have occurred within this time range for memory transactions. But this only affects this view's contents. It has no effect on any of the other views. So you are your own master effectively. You're no longer a slave of the debug view. The current time control, though, there is only one of those, and that is always hosted in the master debug view. And so if you toggle the view or the time controls back off, you are now again a slave of the debug view. The warning messages, maybe you want to pause the video and read what they say, but effectively it's in a nutshell trying to explain what I just explained. And that is an important concept because it applies to all temporal views, including context statistics, including there are too many to mention really. So it also affects this content. I'm zoomed out completely here. This Windows content description you see start and end time are now affected locally by these time controls. And as soon as I toggle it back off, they go back to the master controls time extents. If you switch to the history view, you'll notice that if you drag the simulation into here, the current time also appears now, rendered, superimposed on top of the various elements' timelines, showing you that current time is set right here. So you can zoom into it to show you more details surrounding your exact state of affairs. And that was it for this tutorial. Cheers.